asked to just like step out.
Just so you know, we're going live.
And then I almost got into a fight with somebody. It was just a big mess.
Did you throw down?
No, because he walked away like a bitch.
All right. So
like, smack talk us.
We're now live on YouTube, Game Day 716. Noah's telling us about his horror story of a season opener. There we go. CJ's about to join us in a minute. You have Todd, Noah, wherever Paul would be on the screen.
I'm there.
And Game Day CJ is connecting to audio as we speak. He's the good looking one.
Is
So is Noah. So no offense, Paul.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Game Day CJ, how's it going?
Good.
Good.
Make
Welcome.
sure I'm not on mute.
No, you're loud and clear.
All right.
So we're live already. We're recording. We're up on YouTube. You were introduced as the good-looking one.
Got a haircut too.
It's the trimmed up beard.
It is. That must
for
be
sure.
That must be why.
Is that food in it?
It might.
What is that?
Maybe over there. Yeah.
All right.
It's all good. I'm taking that compliment away now. But
Yeah.
Oh no, you don't want to.
I didn't know. I wasn't ready coming
all
on.
Technical
good.
difficulties. I'm switching cameras real quick.
No, this is the professionalism you get out of Game Day 716, right?
Oh yeah, we keep
From
it.
all
We
of
keep
us.
it real. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're real human beings with real feelings. We're real people. So as you can see, based upon the board, we have stuff to talk about. I'm gonna have to turn around every time because you can't really see it, and
Yeah,
I'll read about it. But we're gonna get that better for y'all. I don't know. I'll figure out how to zoom in the camera or something. We are in an app called Zoom. I assume it has a Zoom feature, but I would hope it does. I don't know. Do you guys know if it does? I have no idea. Anyway, so
Maybe Zoom is just referencing the speed, not necessarily.
that's probably true. I'll look that up after the show, and we'll have it for you next time.
Another
Or we'll
reason
make
to
a
tune in.
movie about it, like The Social Network. So yes, we're live. Game Day 716. We appreciate you all watching. Anyone who's a fan of Zach Moss and Zach Moss's podcast, thank you for joining us. We are extremely excited. Make sure you watch his podcast every week.
Subscribe.
Whenever it's on.
Notification, the whole nine.
Yeah.
It'll be a fantastic 45 minutes to an hour of your time to watch that first episode. I watched it last night, and as big of a Josh Allen fan as I am, you cannot miss this interview that Zach Moss does with Josh Allen. You can't. If you haven't seen it already, watch this episode, watch us live. As soon as this is over, jump over to Zach Moss's channel, watch the first episode of his podcast. Honest to God, it's a can't miss episode.
We'll give him an honorary Game Day Zach Moss.
There you go.
Or we honorary Zach Moss Game Days. Anyway, so what do we have to talk about today? Okay, Ricky Martin's celebrity career. So, with nothing else going on in sports, especially Buffalo sports. No, I'm just kidding. So the first one says Bills 16, Steelers 23. Any reactions to that? Or should we move on?
To the 16-23 score.
Yeah.
I'll say this just at face value. Anyone that feels like the Bills didn't hold their own in this game, you really need to go back throughout Josh Allen's entire tenure with the Bills and look that games against the Steelers have been like this the entire time Josh Allen has been in Buffalo.
We're going to get
last
into
year,
this.
it came down to the Taron Johnson pick six. Like we will absolutely get into it, but I am not ringing any alarms just yet. Not at all.
CJ, are you ringing alarms?
No, I think we've not historically played bad against Pittsburgh, but had similar games to what was happened on Sunday. And it just a couple breaks didn't go our way. I think I read somewhere, I don't know if it was you guys that posted that about team being up by 10 and at the end of half and the other team not scoring any points. I don't think the team that was losing in that scenario had ever come back and won. So I just think it shows how much of a fluke it is. And it's not really something to
It was like
get freaked out about.
140-1 or something.
Yeah,
It
something
was some
128. I
strange-
can't remember what you said. Yeah. I thought that was a good tell as far as like how that game went. Like it we should have pulled it out, and they made some great adjustments at halftime, and we unfortunately weren't not, I wouldn't say we weren't ready for it, but they had our number in that second half, and they executed, and you know we didn't, and I think it could have went either way though for most of the game.
Makes sense.
I agree with that.
No, red
execution was
flags.
key.
I think there were red flags all over this. I mean, from the beginning, Josh never looked comfortable in the pocket. It didn't really look like he had like trusted a wide receiver. And then it looked like he would trust Diggs, but he would also stare him down. So it didn't really matter. The offensive line looked
So let's throw
lost.
in before Noah continues, and this is my fault, but Noah was actually at the game, so he has a different perspective than the other three of us who were watching on TV because, you know, obviously you get a different perspective, but you're not being swayed one way or another by Charles Davis and Ian Eagle. Noah was actually there. So
Yeah.
again, different perspective. So he was staring down Diggs.
Yeah, the offensive line looked lost. I mean, there were a couple times where there were just completely blown blocks. It just wasn't. It wasn't a good day offensively. It was a very good day defensively. And you know that bend don't break scenario only goes so far if your offense can do anything. I mean, I don't really want to put this all on Josh's back, but I mean, in reality, it is. You threw 51 passes and you put up 16 points with one touchdown. Like, something's got to give here.
Paul, is that a Josh Allen problem or a Brian Dable problem?
Would you be shocked if I told you neither and that there's other culprits?
Honestly, no, I wouldn't, but continue.
If I told you that Josh Allen was the most hurried up quarterback in the entire NFL this past weekend, would that add a little bit more context? What if I told you he was third in dropped passes?
Well, I'm asking.
What if
though,
I told you he
the
was
51 throws, the 51 actual passes was a Brian
most of
Dable
his career in
problem
a game.
or a Josh Allen problem?
I think for what they were trying to do to the Steelers, I could have seen somewhere between 40 and 50 passing attempts. I don't think that they anticipated Singletary rushing as well as he did. He was very efficient running the ball. I think that I'd like to see Zach Moss in the mix. Not to swing back full circle, but honest to God, there were some situations, especially out of the backfield with passing. He could have been really efficient. We threw 3 times to our backs for like 2 yards. It was not that prolific. I think that having Zach Moss back there would have helped tremendously, especially when it came to getting people a little bit more in the box. If we were firing on all cylinders and the short passing attack and screen game was there, Josh isn't hurried on 41% of his dropbacks. And I think that they only blitzed a handful of times. So that's just a testament to what their front four did. I watched the film. I will tell you that our offensive line was as bad as we've seen them in the McDermott era. Without question. Without question. The stunts and twists that the Steelers defense were performing were confusing the bejesus out of the offensive line. And I can't speak to what their individual assignments were, but it was very obvious from the holding calls to the complete missed blocks. Morse had a decent game. Cody Ford was probably our best offensive lineman.
Agreed.
Hands down. And that's just how the whole thing went. My video will be back in a second. My webcam was acting a fool, so I'm switching back.
That's a great
I
picture,
will
by
end,
the way. Yeah.
right. Camping, you love it.
Okay.
So one of the things that I noticed in watching the game film back, they were rushing 3 quite a bit. And that stat of 41% of the dropbacks of Josh Allen having pressure in his face, that's accurate. And that led the NFL. There is no debating from a statistical standpoint that the Bills' pass defense was struggling. And I don't know that it was that they were doing anything different than what got them into the dance, so to speak. Pittsburgh just had the blocking assignments figured out. Like,
so is
blank.
the blocking assignment figured out a Brian Dable problem? Because that's kind of the talk on Bill's Twitter.
I think it's partially Brian Dable, but I don't know that you could put it all on him. I think that a little bit of it was communication issues, probably not having, those reps with a full stadium. I think didn't do us any favors. And I think that will be some adjustments that we make. I also don't think we'll face a front four as ferocious as Pittsburgh's the rest of the season. I mean, I would struggle to find another four down linemen that are going to give us more fits than, the Steelers defensive line did. And that's just what I saw. Like, a lot of our problems stemmed from the offensive line. And I don't really put a lot of stock in Josh making errors because his stats were almost identical to the win from last year. Almost identical. More passing attempts. Don't get me wrong.
I hate that.
Completion percentage,
argument, but we'll get into that later. CJ, do you agree with the offensive line issues?
Yeah, I agree that there was issues on the offensive line. I think that it's funny when you think of Pittsburgh because you expect them to do crazy blitz packages and everything like that. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen. They blitzed pretty much 4, as far as I recall, and they got home most times. And as we've had this conversation many times on this podcast, if you can get to a quarterback with 4 linemen, you are going to do better in this league than most other teams because it's all about getting that pressure without having to add extra safeties, cornerbacks, whatever you're going to do coming into blitz the quarterback. So if you can get to those guys off the 4, you leave your guys in protection and you give offensive coordinators a headache. And I just think that regardless of whether it's on Dable or not, I think any offensive coordinator is going to have a hard time when you have 4 guys getting to the quarterback consistently.
Yes, I agree. Noah. Hi.
So,
where do you stand on the Steelers game plan?
I mean, I don't think the Steelers game plan was anything special. I mean, they left 2 high safeties most of the time, and they just dared us to throw it. They, like CJ was saying, they didn't rush more than 4 or 5 guys unless it was a designed blitz where obviously you're going to be rushing more than that. But, they did some things moving around TJ Watt and Melvin Ingram, but there weren't a lot of stunts that were done either. It was just like there were penalties after penalties. I mean, you had Feliciano letting up 8 pressures alone. I mean, that's going to hurt you any day of the week.
Yep.
So
what do we think Feliciano is a problem, and do we think that him losing 20 pounds in the offseason is a problem?
I think I need more than one game to decide that, but I think that it's got to be on the radar now. It absolutely has to, because he got bulldozed on a few plays that you could tell that the 20 pounds is what got him ran over. And we haven't seen Feliciano get beat quite like that in his tenure with the Bills. So there is some credibility to the notion that did the losing of 20 pounds somehow, make him lighter on his feet to where when you're facing some of these DTs that are just trying to bull rush through a guard, like, are you going to be able to throw a punch out and stick the guy and not get pushed back? And we didn't see that in the Steelers game at all. In fact, there was a couple plays where he went to go jam at the line of scrimmage and Feliciano's arms were just getting whacked out of the way. He was getting tossed to the ground like a child and he was getting through. Now, I'm sure that Feliciano will be the first to tell you that that's not how he wants to play the game, and he's going to get better. And that's why I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt to Feliciano. If we continue to see this problem, though, I think a real discussion needs to be made about Ike becoming your starting left guard. And, from the 2020 season standpoint, PFF graded them like within 0.4 of each other as far as what they did on the field in pass blocking situations. So I don't think that there's enough of a drop off there to where you necessarily worry that, by switching Feliciano out and putting Ike in, is that going to cause
PFF liked Ike a lot.
I
remember that. I don't, but that's just me. And I seem to go against everything that all stats and opinions seem to feel. CJ,
a couple shout outs real quick that I see in the chat before we get into the next point. A couple. We got Krabby's Patties that's asking for a mention. Super fan. We got Yaks on Sacks saying hey to CJ. CJ's got some fans in the chat tonight.
Nice.
You love to see it. Appreciate everybody that's stopping by and tuning in tonight, and we will keep it rolling.
Yeah. So CJ, you've played before. And,
that's what I was going to say.
A little bit more. I was
just going to get into his leverage
inside.
looked off. Yeah, his leverage looked off. So it looked like he was. It just I don't know if it's just from not being the first game and obviously you got to get your technique down a little bit better. But a lot of times it seemed like he was just his body wasn't centered right. So every time he'd reach for something, he'd get thrown the other way and not have the balance to keep himself upright. And I don't know if that's playing against such a good D tackle that'll do that to you, right? So like playing against another guy probably wouldn't be as egregious, but it showed so much because he was playing against probably one of the best D tackles in the league, if not the best, I would say. And
top
so,
five, whatever. Yeah, definitely.
What'd you say? Yeah. You know
top
what I mean?
five. Yeah, I mean, wherever we want to rate him, he's one of the top, right?
Right. And that's
Aaron
how
Donald, next level.
Exactly. Yeah. For sure.
So,
Okay. So Donald. Yeah. I was thinking of trying to think of somebody off the cuff who was better. So Donald for sure. But yeah.
I have a quick pressure breakdown to add a little bit of context for everybody. So
Paul's taking us inside the numbers.
We're gonna have graphics real soon as I finish these things up. All right.
Get to your point.
So John Feliciano, as I mentioned, led the Bills with 8 pressures allowed. In second, we have Deion Dawkins, who is clearly not all the way back. I think the holding calls are a testament to that. And I expect to see a Deion Dawkins bounce back game against Miami. Darrell Williams also had 5 pressures that he was responsible for. So him and Dawkins each had 5. Mitch Morris had 3. Cody Ford had 2. Ike did play in limited snaps. He was in for 7 pass plays, only allowed 1 pressure. So all in all,
I think Ike played in 11 plays overall. So I don't want to
I think there was 7 pass
in this.
Yeah, it's an unfair comparison because of his limited snap count for sure. But our starting 5 struggled, and Pittsburgh barely blitzed at all. So I don't want to chalk it up to individual performances just yet, although those numbers are something that we need to keep in mind. I think more telling is the fact that we're still open to switching out the guards, right? I think Cody Ford is going to stay at right guard 100%. I think that he, again, was our best pass blocker on Sunday.
He's fit into that position. He's ready to go. Definitely.
You could plug him in. I was thinking maybe he is somebody that you can keep swapping in and out. You could have 3 guards in a rotation, but I think he, more so than Feliciano, has earned the right to just be solidified into that right guard spot next to Darrell Williams, who didn't have as good of a game against TJ Watt as he did last year. But I don't know that was necessarily anything that had to do, again, with individual performances, because we don't know what their individual assignments were. I do know, shout out to Cover One. I was watching Cover One do a film breakdown the other day, and they were showing some of the pressures that the Steelers were utilizing just from a 4-man rush, and what typically Brian Dable likes to do pass protection wise in certain situations, just to kind of see. And they seemingly knew everything that the Bills were going to do from a protection standpoint and had a counter to it on almost every snap. And almost half the time they earned pressure from it.
let's get into that, Noah, because the Steelers actually said on numerous plays that they knew what the Bills were going to do. But on the 4th and 1, especially the 4th and 1 pass to Matt Breida that ended up in a 6-yard loss, they knew that was coming. And what do we think about the Steelers as far as, and the Bills as far as being prepared and at least having it mixed up? Or do we think they should have planned more maybe or played more in the preseason? Do we think, other thoughts here? Where are you?
So with that 4th and 1, here's the thing that I'm going to stick with this. Everybody knows when Tom Brady lines up to sneak on a 4th and 1 or a 3rd and inches or literally on the goal line, that's what he's going to do. Josh Allen is 6'5", 250.
Yeah.
Like, why are we
getting pretty?
Why did he hesitate? Who cares? And if he didn't get it, at least the defense has the ball there and still not 6 yards back. And that 6 yards does make a difference. But dude, you are a big guy. We've seen you jump over people and literally stiff arm dudes into the dirt. Why are you hesitating to hit these guys? Who cares if it's stacked up? At least try to get it. 2 years ago in the Dallas game on Thanksgiving, we saw this kid on 4th and 1 run over a Dallas defender, but he doesn't do it in this game. For what? Because Cameron Hayward might be standing there. So what? You get tackled. At least you tried to get it. I don't understand. I don't think that was the play. I think Josh just went, oh, the sneak isn't there, and there's someone standing in the hole, so I'm just going to pitch it out and see what Breida can do. That wasn't supposed to happen.
You think Allen audible?
Yeah, I think I honestly think it was a QB sneak. I do not think that was a play because I think Breida was genuinely surprised to get the ball.
So Dable came out and admitted this week that was by design, and they were trying to emulate a play that the Bills ran back in the early 2000s. There was a 4th and 1 when Drew Bledsoe was playing quarterback, where we faked the sneak, dumped it off to the back in the backfield, took it for a touchdown. It almost worked to perfection again. So as you watch the play unfold, unless you get tackled before the line to gain. So what happens is wide receiver comes in motion from the left side of the formation across to the right. Corner of the Steelers follows the receiver until he gets in line. As soon as the receiver comes back behind Josh, the corner stays put, and that's the corner that ended up getting Breida. He came in untouched. So if that corner would have followed the receiver to the other side of the formation, there would have been no one over there, and Breida probably takes it for 6. But it was designed, and Dable took it from a play back in the day that the Bills ran successfully, and just
in 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't that your read though? Like, isn't that your read? So if the guy goes, you run the play, but if the guy doesn't go, then
you stay.
I don't. Yeah.
So
I don't understand why you run that play.
And if it's not, that's stupid because
I don't even think it should be an RPO. It should be an R.
Yeah. Well, right? I don't think if the guy goes and then it works
there was
out.
No chance it was going to be a run. I don't think that there was any.
I don't know that there was averaging 6.5 yards per carry.
Singletary wasn't in the game on that play though, right?
No, I know. That's not my
Breida,
point.
Yeah.
That's not my point. You had Singletary averaging 6.5 per carry. And even if you wanted Breida to run the ball, a handoff behind Josh, lining someone up. How many times did we see 4 or 5 guys wide with no one standing next to Josh? Like, that had to be over 50%. I would say 50 to 60% would be my guess of no guys in the backfield with at least 4 wide. I'll go that way. And then again, that's fine. And to me, when you have an MVP candidate or an MVP level player, you put the ball in their hands, right? And so that's what I think they were thinking. They were thinking, we're just going to sling it, right? And that's why he got 51 passes because.
But here's the other thing is when you say that is I don't remember them taking more than a couple shots downfield. And like, I get it. Maybe you didn't have the time to do that, but like there also weren't a lot of plays where you're rolling him out of the pocket. That pocket was collapsing quicker than quicksand. Like,
Okay.
why are you not rolling him out of the pocket, allowing him the time, allowing him those deep shots?
Two things to talk about then. So should there have been more rollouts and putting Josh on the run? And then what was the deal with actual quarterback sneaks and why did they run so many against Pittsburgh, especially? Does anyone feel the same way that both of those things should have happened or shouldn't have happened?
So during my live breakdown, and follow along anybody this weekend, I'll be doing it again where I'll be live tweeting throughout the entire game. I made mention right before halftime that it seemed like the 4-man pressure was getting through a lot, and I anticipated that the adjustment that was going to be made was either using Gilliam or using an extra tight end, doing something different, maybe running some 12 personnel, doing something to get that offensive line a little bit of help. And they did none of it. In fact, they did so little with blocking other than their 5 offensive linemen that here are the numbers of pass block snaps for the running backs and tight ends. Singletary had 5 pass block snaps. Breida had 0. Sweeney had 1. Knox had 0. Gilliam had 0. If the 4-man front is demolishing your offensive line, you need to give them help. And in hindsight, I think that probably would have worked. I don't know that they had the ability to make those adjustments on the fly. Or maybe they thought if we keep pushing this, it's going to work because they came close on a couple of plays. But I was really, really shocked to see that in the second half, they didn't come out and line up Gilliam, outside of Darrell Williams and have him help TJ Watt, and then like maybe, kick Morse over to help Feliciano. And then you could slide the protection over so that Cody Ford is picking up a D tackle, whatever the case may be. Having 6 hats on 4 hats would have been much better because even 5 hats on 4 hats and sometimes 3, the Steelers just had every answer for everything we were trying to do.
Here's one thing that I want to bring go back to that CJ brought up. And I think it was about whenever you can rush 4, you're going to win. And CJ's brought this up numerous times, right? So we saw that often. And one of the things that I want to say is that when the Steelers signed Ingram, he was signed as a backup. And he's actually technically a backup for them because what's his face went down. But he played like the old Melvin Ingram from the Chargers days when he was actually fantastic. And I think the Bills weren't prepared for that.
I completely agree with that. I don't think they game planned for how well Melvin Ingram was going to be. I mean, they put him in that stand-up, that outside linebacker position where he can just do that spin move, and it worked.
Well, when you can line up so this is the one thing that I saw them do with Ingram and that I think made Ingram so successful was they moved Watt inside next to him. And then they had an overload of Hayward, Watt, and Ingram all on the one side. And when they did that, it just screwed over the left side of the line. And that was something that I think I saw. I don't know, my eyes deceive me often, but that's one of the things that I saw Pittsburgh do a couple of times that I thought they ran over, and it just destroyed the Bills. Now, CJ, what are your thoughts on whether they ran the ball enough? And of course, we have to ask you about tight end play.
As far as running the ball enough, what was the total amount of rushes that they had that game? Did anybody know? Off the top of their head?
How
25.
Like you probably want to break down, right? Like
Singletary had 11, Allen had 9, Breida had 4, and McKenzie had 1.
Yep.
And the run to McKenzie was awful.
Yeah. No, I can't say. I mean, based on that, like I can't say for sure that they needed to run it more. But at the same time, it's like.
What if I told you Singletary averaged 6.5 yards a carry?
Right. No, I get what you're
On
saying.
11
You're
carries.
saying put him
This is
out
long.
there, he does
20
more,
points.
and therefore the offense continues to move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can see that. I agree. You know, but it's all, you know, what ifs at this point, and so it's like
Mhm.
it's
That's
hard
what we
for me to
do.
say. Oh, I know.
You know what
I know,
usually
but
helps?
I'm saying it. Go ahead.
You know what usually helps the run game that we saw none of? Jet sweeps. We saw none of that kind of stuff. And that
First
is
play of the
a
game.
yeah, but we didn't see it throughout the game. You know what I mean? Like we usually see it 3, 4, 5 times. McKenzie gets his touches that way. I was really shocked to not see them use that in lieu of calling more run plays to
Is
try
it
to,
possible? Is it possible that they were so afraid of that front four just getting pressure on Allen that they said the jet sweep's not even going to work today?
it's possible because the top 5 pressures, the top 5 players that had the most pressures in the NFL in week 1 of the regular season, 3 of the top 5 were Steelers.
I have something to say about that. If that's the case, I'm sorry, you're not a Super Bowl contender.
The Steelers or the Bills?
The Bills. If you're that scared of another
Whoa.
team where you're
You're
going,
jumping to reactions.
okay.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
No, I'm just
Continue.
saying.
Let's go right into it.
I'm saying you're Super Bowl contenders should not be afraid of anybody. Do you think the Chiefs at any point against that game against the Browns had one thought they were going to lose it even when they were losing? No, because they've been there before and they've done it. But they also aren't scared of anybody. The Bucks aren't scared of anybody. Green Bay wasn't scared of anybody, might need to be now because Aaron Rodgers might be throwing games. But like, you know, if you're sitting there and going, oh man, that defensive front scares me so much that I have to take this whole aspect of my offense that worked really well last year that we never backed down from, but we are now for whatever reason, I'm sorry, you're not ready.
But isn't it your
Are you talking the jet
responsibility?
sweep stuff?
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering if the McKenzie shoulder had anything to do with that, because that happened in the
It's
first quarter.
possible, but you also have other players on your roster that can do those things.
Breida.
Sure, maybe
Yeah.
they can't
Breida.
be as fast as McKenzie, but
Breida's pretty fast.
shifty. Right, but you have Breida. You can do it with Singletary. You can do it with Beasley. You're going to need more blockers to that side,
Or
but
Sanders.
the good coaches adapt. They don't just go, well, we don't have this one player, so we can't do it. And their front seven's really scary. So sorry.
Well,
No,
but,
that's not what you do.
but I guess my question is, and maybe this is what Paul was saying, and it goes back exactly to what you were saying as well. If good coaches adapt, then maybe you do throw that out of the playbook for that game because of McKenzie's shoulder. He didn't come back in, right?
He did, but he wasn't like he didn't
wasn't
do
a
much
factor.
afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't that.
was
I mean, he
all over the place.
Yeah, there was some fair catches. I mean, he had a couple decent returns, but when he came back, we didn't see the same type of juice from him. And, last I heard, he's still. I don't think he practiced today.
Week to week.
What I saw was, I think he's hurting. He'll be all right though. And I mean,
So I have
silver lining. Marquez Stevenson's coming back in a couple weeks.
Yeah. But going back to my point, but it wasn't just the jet sweeps. It was what I was saying before. There wasn't a deep shot down the field. Sure, you let him.
There were a couple.
There were a couple, but it wasn't like.
But I want to touch on that because this goes to something as far as basically Allen wasn't on target. And we talked about this in our group chat as the game was going on. But Allen was hitting guys on their back shoulder on the run. He wasn't hitting guys in stride. He overthrew Sanders when Sanders was wide open deep.
And
Okay.
but that's Allen's problem. And that's not something that you figure out as a problem until the game happens. What you're talking about is they went into this game against the Steelers and were like, we're not running this because we're scared of them. You are not a Super Bowl contender and you are not ready to take down the world if you are scared of something that another team is doing. I'm sorry.
But
you have to go into each game saying, I'm going to put up 50 points on the board because no one can touch us.
How can you think that they didn't think that?
Because they
threw the ball 51 times.
They threw the ball 51 times, but it wasn't deep. they took their deep shots and didn't get them. Allen missed over to Sanders, and then the rest of the passes were medium or dink and dunks, or then they ran it. They did the Singletary broke off that huge run, and then it was pass, and they gave the ball back. They kept doing things that the old Bills did, and that's the part that scares me. But if you are completely removing something from your offense, you are not a Super Bowl contender, because you should not be afraid of anybody. Do you really think Tom Brady and Bill Belichick went into games saying, well, we're not going to put this?
I don't even think Tom Brady and Bruce Arians are afraid. So,
exactly. Do you think they go into games and say, well, we're moving this completely from our offense because we don't trust the defense?
CJ,
Maybe you were
again with your knowledge of
it, but...
and playing and all of that, I want you to have a say in this on how coaches adjust and what they actually do, because a lot of times people just think coaches do everything do their exact game plan up till halftime. They go into halftime, make adjustments, and then come out in the second half, and whatever adjustments they made are executed that way. And I want to know sort of how that actually works.
Yeah, so it's basically if you're getting your asses kicked and you go into the locker room, you're like, you get reamed out, obviously, and then you obviously go into it, say, we're going to do this, this, and this, and try to kind of switch it up, do what you can to kind of fix what's not working, and then go out there and try to re-execute not a totally different plan, but just an adjusted plan to what you already had. And so in my mind, the way I view it is, and going back to the question of the running and whether it was enough, I feel like they thought they were doing exactly what they needed to do to win a game, which they've done multiple times. They won games in that fashion before, you know what I mean? Like, so it's not like to me last year, they didn't run very much. Yeah, I'd see plenty of games where there'd be only a couple runs with Singletary, and then Josh would do most of the work. And you know what I mean? So I think they thought like, hey, we won a lot this way last year, so we're going to do it again. And I think that they were flawed, and obviously, but still, you know, you don't know it till it's over. And I think going into the halftime with 10 points up, you're sitting there telling yourself, okay, we're in a great spot. You know, we're 10 points up against a really good defense. If we can continue to do what we did in the first half, in my mind and in their mind, I think they thought they'd be okay. Now, that didn't work out. And, obviously looking back, there could have been things that were done differently. But in my mind, the coaching staff probably didn't go into that at halftime and say, oh, you guys messed everything up. You guys are terrible. No, I'm sure he's like, keep throwing a ball. We'll click. We'll put them away. And that's what I envision happened probably at halftime for coaching adjustments and stuff like that.
I've got 2 quick points to make just to kind of piggyback off everything that CJ just said. The first point is we were up 10-0 at halftime. I don't think that there was a question that we need to make drastic adjustments until the game started getting out of hand in the second half. And I think at that point, you can make adjustments on the fly, but that's pretty much the most you could do. It wasn't broken in the first half. You have a 10-point lead. Don't make such a drastic change that you shoot yourself in the foot. Keep doing what got you that 10-0 lead. So that makes sense. I understand why they didn't make wholesale changes.
So let's punt from our own 40.
That was a bad move. Even statistically, that was horrible. I think
twice.
Sean McDermott I think he would attest to that. Second point I want to make is the misnomer that there is time to make wholesale changes and adjustments at halftime. And I'm going to utilize 2 experts to make this point. Anyone that caught the Monday Night Football broadcast with the Mannings, Peyton Manning pretty much laughed at the idea that there is time during halftime to make adjustments. Like, who has time for that? Were his exact words. So there is not time in the course of the 10-15 minutes that you've got back there to make wholesale adjustments. You're maybe talking to your lineman as a quarterback and saying, hey, what did you see? Talking to a wide receiver saying, hey, what did you see? Aaron Rodgers piggybacked off of that on the Pat McAfee show just the other day. And he agrees with Peyton. Really, all you have time during halftime to do is to talk to your guys and say, hey, are you seeing anything in the defensive backfield? Is there anything different you could do with this particular route? You're having very small, quick conversations about what your teammates are seeing, but it's not the coaches saying, all right, guys, we sucked in the first half. We need to stop running shotgun. We're going to put Josh under center. We're going to run 12 personnel. And we're going to, you don't have the time to do that during halftime. It's these quick adjustments througund the game.
Yes, you spend a week
figure
getting
all
ready,
this
right?
out.
So
ahead of
you're
time.
not going to be able to do what you've done in a week at halftime. And I agree with what he's saying.
100%.
And that's my point in that you're going to try to adjust as much as you can, but obviously you're limited in as far as like how much information you can really get out.
So when you prep, or let's just say hypothetically, if you're a coach, and this is for anybody, when you prep and you're saying, okay, you go in with scenarios saying we're up 10-0, so this is what we do. We're down 23-6. This is what we do. We're up 45-0. This is what we do. Do you do that during the week? Like as part of your plan?
I don't know something like that is specific to a team that you're facing.
Yeah,
I think that's something that's just like
point wise.
If it's the fourth quarter and
I hear you.
You score a touchdown and the touchdown makes you up 5. You're going to go for 2 to make it 7. Like, it's just that, hey, anytime this situation comes up, this is what we do in this situation, regardless of opponent. I think there are things like that take place that are just known throughout the entire season.
And that stuff exists, right? Yeah, I get that. I'm just thinking when you're game planning through the week, that
like for a specific
opponent. I'm thinking if you're up 10-0, you want to come out and show a different side, even if it is game 1, and you don't want to reveal your whole offense and you don't want to do everything because you don't want to do, you want to come out and have some adjustments. And I don't know that I saw any. They just came out and said, we're going to just keep trying to throw it.
I think that's a terrible excuse if that's what they used and said that, oh, we don't want to show our whole offense. This is an AFC game.
This
is an AFC game that will probably go on to dictate who gets first or second, who gets home field, right?
Yeah.
So, you think this game did? The Steelers game?
I'm saying it could easily. I'm saying this could easily.
It could play. Yeah. It could.
You know what I mean? Like, just because they're going to be one of the top 2 in the AFC, as far as I'm still convinced that nothing that happened that game convinced me that Pittsburgh is that much better. I was listening to this WGR interview with
this morning.
It was yesterday, but I think Wood came on, and the question was asked: would you take this Pittsburgh team over the Buffalo team we have? And the answer I had, and the answer everybody else had on the thing, was no. I like what the Buffalo is doing better. I like the team that they have around them. I like the quarterback they have better. And so, no, I wouldn't take Pittsburgh over them. I wouldn't take that team in Pittsburgh. I wouldn't want them to come to Buffalo, and vice versa. I wouldn't want that. I think what we have is still going to do well. But again, back to the point was just, if that's how they're playing it and saying, oh, well, we don't want to reveal everything, I think that's awful. And
that was more of like stuff the announcers say, you don't want to reveal your whole playbook in week 1.
Well, here's the thing.
Kind of
but why not go balls out though? Like, it did seem a little bit more conservative.
Yeah.
It did seem a little bit more held back. You know what I mean? Like, I get what you're saying. I don't think they came out with the idea and said like, hey, we're going to dial it back, but it definitely seemed that way.
So Noah, you wanted to counter because you think you were kind of misconstrued a little bit.
I mean, I wasn't saying like halftime adjustments. I'm saying if you're sitting there for like if McDermott and Dable and they're having their offensive team meetings going into this game, and they're sitting there going, well, TJ Watt and Melvin Ingram are going to be on the outsides here trying to set the edge with Joe Hayden and Minkah Fitzpatrick. We can't, do jet sweeps this week. I'm sorry, that does not make you a Super Bowl contender. I don't care about your halftime adjustments. I understand about that stuff. Yes, you have literally 30 seconds to talk to each coach about what's going on. I get that. I'm saying if you're going into games saying I'm too scared to run offensive play X because this is what the defense is doing, not because my player's injured, I get it. If they were like McKenzie's injured, okay, we can't run that as much, but there should have been more. You try it with Breida, you try it with Singletary. They looked like they were scared to try things, and it wasn't based off us. It seemed they were scared of Pittsburgh, so in turn it made us worse. But it wasn't. I mean, Pittsburgh didn't really get home. They just applied pressure. They were just pressures. And when
Pittsburgh looked like the most.
I mean, they sat there with two high safeties, all of their DBs pushed back and went, throw it.
Right. I guess
Watt
what
himself
I'm saying
hit Allen 5 times. That's just TJ Watt.
And I get that. And right. But I'm saying if you want to be a Super Bowl contender, there is nothing you should be afraid of. I'm sorry. But if you're going into games saying, I'm afraid of this, then you shouldn't be. You can be like, man, TJ Watt's really good. We definitely have to contain him. But there should be no reason why you're sitting there going, I have to throw these offensive plays that have gotten me to this point, that got me to an AFC championship game. I mean, think about that Ravens game. McKenzie, didn't they score one of the touchdowns on a McKenzie sweep?
Well, there were only 2 touchdowns in the game, right?
Yeah, there was the Gabe Davis laser with no window.
Right. Well, whatever. We saw a lot of McKenzie sweeps last year that got us touchdowns and were pretty clutch. You had this offense that got you the AFC championship game. Then it looked like you went into the Steelers game going, man, we're afraid of the Steelers. And if that's the case, you are not a Super Bowl contender. I'm sorry. You think other teams in the league, do you think Matt Stafford sits there and goes, I'm scared?
But do you think the Steelers played too high, like too high safety?
A lot.
Because they were playing Josh Allen? I mean, they're not going to go in against Jared Goff and with the same game plan.
And I understand that. And I'm not trying to discount what Pittsburgh did because what they did worked. But I'm saying from a Bills perspective.
Jared Goff, though. If you want.
Yeah, Jared Goff sucks. But
he threw for over 300.
Big whoop. He threw a pick 6. I don't really care. And he didn't win.
It was all in garbage time. Yeah, it was all garbage time. But I picked him up in fantasy.
But no, and I'm saying, yes, I credit to Pittsburgh for what they did, because what they did obviously worked, but it wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything that this offense shouldn't have been able to handle. And it looked to be too much. And it looked to be too much because they were scared. And if you want to be a Super Bowl contender, you can't be scared of anybody, because you have to beat 32 teams, possibly. I'm saying, okay, I understand with the schedule and everything, but you have to be able to beat 32 teams, because you don't know who you're going to face in Super Bowl. You don't know who you're going to have to face in the playoffs. Whatever. 31. You have to be ready to be able to beat every team, no matter what team it is. Yes, you face 17 teams during the season, but you don't know who you're going to face in the Super Bowl, and you don't know who you're going to face in the playoffs. And if you are going into games in the regular season saying, I'm scared, so I can't run this play, then you're not a Super Bowl contender. I'm sorry. That's the truth.
What's the difference between being scared and being smart?
Coach said they weren't scared.
I was going to say, what's the difference? So, like, what's the difference between being scared and not calling a play and seeing something on tape or seeing something
saying, hey, this isn't going to work?
Yeah, and saying and being
how do you
smart
know
about
it's not going to work? Why are you completely removing it from your offense? Because you have the players to do it. And
let's say here. Let me just say, they started Tommy Sweeney, they dressed Tommy Sweeney, who played one play the entire game, did not play on special teams. Okay, and like I said, he was out there for one play.
Okay,
and they didn't dress Zach Moss.
Yeah.
Now, Moss would have made way more of an impact than Sweeney would have, right?
Yes.
So, but for some reason, they decided that was part of the plan, as stupid as it may be.
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm just saying, if that was the case, if they were there, I get it. There is a difference between saying that might not work, but it shouldn't be that isn't going to work, period. I'm sorry. You're supposed to be this high flying Super Bowl 30 points per game offense, then show it.
I think every team, though, I mean, I feel like, and I feel like you're saying the Bills shouldn't game plan. They should just have a completely open book.
Open playbook. To an extent. I don't think, I'm just saying nothing should be off the table. You put
So
this
let
roster
me give you
together.
this
You
example.
have the athletes to do it. You got these guys in here. Why are
Yeah.
you not utilizing them?
Give us an example then of how they weren't utilizing guys.
They didn't run jet sweeps.
But
They
didn't
didn't
they
take
in the
you're
beginning of the
so
game?
shots
hung
down
up.
the
That was the
field.
first play they
They
ran.
barely
McKenzie got hurt.
Okay, they ran Breida 4 times. Then they got 117 yards, but off of the back of 11 carries from Devin Singletary and Josh Allen. Devin Singletary broke off a 25-yard run, and then they went back to passing. It was this consistent.
Again, I'm going to go back to when you have an MVP on your team, you put the
I'm not
ball
saying
in
you
their
had
hand.
to run the ball. I'm saying, why are you not doing the same offense that got you here?
Who's
Because
MVP?
people have already seen that.
Yeah, you got to
I'm
add
not
some
saying
wrinkles,
the
but I
exact
get like
same, but I'm
do
saying
what got
why
you
are
here.
you
Okay.
I guess I'm not saying my point correctly. If you're supposed to be a super, I don't know. I look at Patrick Mahomes and I think that they just go, okay, what play are we going to run now? Nothing's off the table. What do we think?
Oh, but I think there is.
Bruce Arians sits there with Tom Brady and does the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. Do we not want that for Josh Allen? Do we not think that Allen and Dayball have that connection? Because it should be. And if they did not have that connection for the Steelers game, I'm sorry, but why not? When have we stopped trusting this offense then? Because that's what it felt like. I don't care how many pressures there are. You then adapt to those things. If you are supposed to be a Super Bowl contender, you have to adapt to those things. And they didn't do that. And then if you're removing plays and you're not running your offense to the fullest extent of your ability because you're saying this is what Pittsburgh's presenting us, I don't know if we could do it, then you're not a Super Bowl contender, because that should be a thought, but it shouldn't be then we can't run this play, period.
So
why
Noah,
are you at least not going to try it?
If you're the coach, right, and you're up 10-0 at the end of half, are you going to tell the team to totally abandon what you've done so far? Or you're going to say, okay, what we're doing is working. Let's keep it going. What would you do?
I'm not saying it's halftime adjustments, though. I mean, from the jump.
You're saying third quarter?
He's saying, okay.
He's saying it wasn't the same offense right out of the gate.
Right.
And if you're not going to run the same offense that got you to the AFC Championship, what are you doing?
Exactly.
I get the point that you're making, but as I want to play devil's advocate here and throw out an analogy.
This is an overreaction.
So let's say Brian Daboll calls down to Josh Allen and has him run a dragging concept, and he tells him, hey, hit the slant. If they're running cover 2, don't you dare throw that slant. It's going to be covered. If you throw the slant of a dragging concept and they're running cover 2, they probably are going to pick that ball. Do not throw that ball. And then Josh Allen lines up. He reads too high safety. He sees that it's cover 2. He knows he has Beasley on the slant. He knows not to throw that ball, not because he's afraid, but because the matchup that the defense has put on the field, the chess game that takes place, has completely taken that away for that play. Now, if you're going to completely remove something for the entire game, that's one thing. But situationally, if your primary guy running jet sweeps,
I think you hit the nail on the head. Okay, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said if you're going to remove something from the playbook for the entire game, that's one thing, because I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, but I mean, to go to what Paul's saying is but what if here's the thing, we didn't see Magician Josh. That's not what we saw.
We saw Sugar Rush Josh.
Yeah, we saw Sugar Rush scared Josh. We didn't see Magician Josh. I'm sorry, but I bet you Brian Daboll doesn't tell him that route's off the table, because there's an opportunity Josh stiffs arm a defender, rolls out of the pocket, and then Beasley's sitting there because everybody's now pushed up because they're afraid he's going to run.
But
we didn't see that in this game.
But he was getting,
even when the pocket was collapsing. He rolled out, threw it away, or threw it over somebody's head, or took a sack.
That goes back all the way to what CJ said, right?
Early in the game,
you're rushing
he was doing
and
that.
he's getting hit.
And not only that, when he was rolling out, there was times where the pocket was just collapsing because the 4-man rush was too much for the offensive line to handle for whatever reason. And we've gone ad nauseum into why that is. There was a couple plays where Allen would get out of the pocket, do his whole Houdini routine where he'd roll out He hit Cole Beasley in the flipping chest and he dropped the ball.
He dropped the ball.
I no longer trust
not on
rolling
Allen.
out and throwing to Beasley. So if
I'm not
I'm
saying
Josh
it's Allen's
Allen in the
fault.
first quarter and I do what I've always done and I do the whole magician Josh thing, I roll out, I get out of that pressure and I hit him right on the money and he drops it. Not once, but twice on the same drive. I might not do that the rest of the game because I'm not going to keep making that same mistake. So all of a sudden, that part of my
Cole
game
Beasley
is gone
ended up
for
with
this
8
game.
receptions on 12
Yeah,
13 targets.
he
And
came
your
to
best guy gets hurt on the first jet sweep. Probably not
Maybe
running
you
that
don't
again.
run jet sweeps again.
You don't. So he was
But you
trying.
don't have a
To
backup?
me, it seemed like
No,
he
I
was,
get what you're saying, but I'm just saying, like, if I'm the coach and the first play, the guy that we got the best, he does the best jet sweeps. So we got one guy. Now the other guy's halfway is good.
yeah, like a number
Yeah,
2 and a
but
number
don't
3
you
guy.
prepare?
Well, let me throw a situation at you from a different game, right? So the KC Cleveland game was right after that. Okay. And there was a play. We all know how KC likes to run Kelsey inside behind the center and then flip him the ball, right? Like they've done that a bunch of times. Well, this time they made a tackle eligible against, I don't know if you guys remember this play, but they made a tackle eligible and Tony Romo goes, they're going to throw this to him inside like they did with Kelsey. The tackle went right behind the center. Mahomes pitches it to him. The tackle got stopped immediately because the Browns basically knew it was coming. And so what do? Do you say, well, we should try that again?
Maybe not that play, but maybe you try to run it again with Kelsey.
Different. Okay.
But that's my point. Why are you not preparing for these things? Then because
I
that's
don't know
what
how
it
you
sounds
prepare
like.
for
If
McKenzie
you're
hurting
the
his shoulder.
You're going, oh,
Or Beasley
McKenzie went
dropping
down. We
ball.
can't do just sweeps anymore because I don't trust the other guy and he hasn't gotten enough time in. That's what that sounds like to me. I'm sorry.
Then so Bean's a problem. McDermott's a problem. Like where is?
I love that
where-
you're overreacting at his overreactions. This is
I know.
amazing. I love
I'm
everything
trying to
about
figure
this.
it out. That's why we're
I'm
related.
just
I love
saying
the
you
segment.
don't get to the Super Bowl by being a bitch, and that's the way this team played.
So,
I'm sorry.
I agree. I do agree to a point because the one thing that I said watching this entire game was this is the most Mike Tomlin Pittsburgh team I have ever seen. Like this is just they're boring. They're good on defense. They're not doing anything special on either side of the ball. They're just making completions, and then letting the receiver. I mean, and we talked about this, right? We argued about this last week about how the Bills could/should throttle Pittsburgh because they should be able to tear this defense apart. Well, their defense proved everybody wrong except me. And they
figured
got
out
even
Pittsburgh. Oh,
Just
They
you. I
got-
thought we both kind of said that it
We
was going to
did.
be a harder game.
we
Okay.
did. I just had 22 points for the Bills. So they even out scored less than I thought. Which, for me being the most negative Bill or the most skeptical of us all is saying something. Yeah, because CJ, you had a 35-25 game or 28 as your prediction.
Yeah, I know it was high. I'm not saying I was right on being high. I was just saying that I agreed with you that it was
You
going to
did
be
say
a
it was-
walkthrough.
Yes.
I just
you did
remember
say
Noah
that.
saying that it was going to be, they got nothing that we're scared of. They got nothing to worry about. What do they got to worry about? And I'm like, oh, we'll find out.
We did. We did.
I mean, like
So-
you said, I don't think anything they did out there should have had us scared. I agree with you. There's nothing crazy out there that they did that we were like, oh my God. I mean, besides like how strong Hayward is and how good Ingram still is.
So let's rewind to last season real quick. If Taron Johnson doesn't get that pick 6 and the game goes differently, Bills lose by 3, and Josh Allen has similar stats to what he had in this week's game, are we making the argument that he played scared then, or did he not play scared because he got the dub last time?
I don't think he played well in that game.
He didn't play well in
Baltimore
last
game.
year's game.
Yeah.
He didn't play well in this year's game. So maybe it's just one of those things where like Josh Allen versus the Steelers defense is going to be this just tough. Trade him for Nathan Peterman. Oh man. I'm going to like seeing Josh Allen go against that Steelers defense for the next few years because I think it's always going to be like this. And I
wish we were in their division.
I just, like I would rather face that. Now,
Flip us in Baltimore. Flip us in Baltimore. I've been saying this for years.
Yeah. I would be so for that because being in the same division as our Lake Erie brothers would be pretty cool. I think
Cleveland,
that'd be great. I think
Pittsburgh, all the teams you could drive to, like, like you can go to all the division games and it's going to be like Cleveland,
at
Pittsburgh,
most a
Cincinnati
5-hour drive. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
But I think even the worst team in that division is better than the other 3 teams in our division. So I'd probably rather stay there,
especially since Cincinnati really proved themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or I'm
good in my AFC.
Maybe we'll get into
who called that good game out of Joey.
Good game. He had like 75 yards at halftime.
Did you see that laser? I'm telling, like, I'm not saying that Cincinnati's gonna like make a deep run, but don't be shocked if they squeeze into like the 6 or 7 seed.
Paul, you did say your prediction.
Are we getting into overreactions now or no?
Well, Paul's prediction for this year was that the Bengals would be the 7th seed in the AFC.
Oh.
So we talked about that last week. So that isn't an overreaction. That's just him sticking by his prediction.
Yeah. If you want an overreaction, I want to see 2 of the 5 members of our offensive line switched out if there's another game like they just had. And I'm looking at Deion Dawkins, surprising as that is, because I don't think he's great, right? Like he's our franchise left tackle. He got bullied and bullied.
Right? Like this, we'll pretend you're like doing Morse code or you're doing a telegraph. He's our franchise left tackle. End statement. End
statement.
Because you
don't get rid of him.
Right, you don't sit him down.
You don't get rid of him because he's a franchise left tackle. Yeah, I get it.
If he's not,
you don't bench him.
The best way for me to put this. It didn't seem like he was conditioned enough to take every snap at left tackle against a front 4 as aggressive and dominant as the Steelers front 4. He had 3 holding calls. He got turned around so many times. He did not look like himself. And all I'm saying is until he gets to that point, maybe we need to hedge our bets with the offensive line. And I think that Ike can play at the same level or better than John Feliciano. And I think that, you really don't have any other options at left tackle
with swapping out Feliciano. I'm just saying
something's got to change.
Isn't Feliciano like the only Bills player you've had interactions with?
Shush.
Okay. I'm just reminding you of this.
Shout out to Zach Moss.
Oh, there you go.
Zach Moss. Luck. Yeah. Paul's new best friend.
I called the John Feliciano contract. I love John Feliciano, right? Like I think he's
all right. They're good.
He's a starting caliber left guard. I think the 20 pounds of weight that he dropped was a big detriment that I don't think it's going to be a detriment when he's facing speed rushers, for example, like guys that are going to try to use finesse moves and try to swim over you. Like, I think he's going to have a quicker burst to him, but them power rushers, Hayward was like treating him like a child. Mm-hmm. Like there were plays and I saw some of it wasn't really all 22, but there was some end zone views that have been floating around on Twitter where like Feliciano is on his back and the defender is in Josh Allen's face. And it's like,
who posted the one in the group chat? That one was pretty sick. Him falling over like that.
The one near the end zone, right?
Yeah. And that's the one I see. Yeah. And that's what made me say about the leverage. Cause I just think Hayward knew how to get him once he put his arms to a certain
He
way.
knew how to go like that.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
spin him
He just
around.
went like
dude.
that.
Yeah, it was wild. Like
That's the thing.
I've never seen a guy fall. Like I've never seen a guy get turned around so badly and then
that was
end up
bad.
on their ass.
And you know what? Here's the thing. Hayward did the same thing to Mitch Morse. Here's the difference, though. Mitch Morse is really good on his feet.
Yes.
He got beat by
Exactly.
Hayward
Super
and had
agile.
he had his back to Josh Allen, and Hayward was already like behind him. And as quick as he could, he backpedaled, spun his body, got right back in front of Hayward,
and at least
squared up,
put
and
himself
Josh was able to
between.
get the
Yeah.
Josh was able to get the pass off. I can't recall off the top of my head if it was completed or not. But
It
he
was
able to
incomplete,
get it off.
but I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
And like that's what we need to see. If you're gonna get beat, recover.
Yeah.
If you're gonna
I
get
don't-
beat and your ass is laying on the ground,
Yeah.
you might need
To
to
your-
try to put somebody else in there just to see what the hell happens.
I hear what you're saying to your point of like adding another blocker, but at the same time, if that D tackle is getting through, like in a regular game, as far as I from what I
Mhm.
understand, if that D tackle is getting by your 200 to 300 pound lineman, then he is gonna make light work of whatever running back you put back
Well,
there to block to.
And that makes
That's
sense. That makes sense from a body on body standpoint. I guess my theory.
So like you,
going
I think
into
if
the
you're a
second
coach,
half-
you're gonna be like, yeah, he's gonna get destroyed too. I mean, I get
So-
it, but
I wish I could draw on the screen right now, and eventually I'm going to figure out how to make that happen. So
Mhm.
let's say you have your 5 offensive linemen and there's 4 rushers, right? That means at least one of those rushers is going to be double teamed, correct?
Theoretically.
Theoretically, you would have enough bodies to double team one of those rushers. Now, if your receivers get the kind of separation the Bills receivers can get, and you don't necessarily need a tight end passing threat because a 4-man rush is beating your 5-man protection, then you need a 6th man. And if you slide in that 6-man inline and you have Sweeney or Gilliam lining outside of Darrell Williams, then all of a sudden you have 6 on 4, and you can kind of manipulate those pieces a little bit. You could have your left tackle face the defensive end, and you could have your left guard and center get 1 D tackle. You have your right guard take another D tackle, and maybe you're getting beat by Ingram, and Darrell isn't able to take that on because there's just too much quickness there. But now you got that tight end that can like throw a hand in, right? Like you're not looking for you only need a split second extra, and there wouldn't have been as many pressures, and Josh would have been able to get the ball out. So I think that like, if the problem was the offensive line, and I truly believe that it was, I think that was the Achilles heel to the Bills' offensive game plan, because I think in theory it could have worked, and it could probably work against other defensive fronts, but with the kind of pressure that the Steelers
Yeah.
were able to get with just
Sure.
4 and dropping 7 into coverage,
Yeah, so we've beaten this to death.
Diggs and everybody
that's-
else will be
if you
able
go
to tell
back to
they
it-
didn't have time to separate. They did
We've-
not have time to separate.
I mean, think about who running backs take on blocks when on blitzes, right? They take on
Outside
linebackers, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that being the case, going back to our thing that we beat like a dead horse, 4 guys getting there, you know what I mean? That you have no linebacker blitzing for that running back to block, so therefore he really shouldn't even be there because he's not a guy that's going to stop.
And he
a
wasn't.
tackle. You know what I mean?
threw out
Like,
those
so-
numbers. Yeah, there was barely any pass protection from the
Yeah.
backs and tight ends, and I think
Yeah.
that was problematic. I get not having the running backs. I can't
Okay,
wrap my
I
head
get you
around
now.
why you wouldn't have the tight end in the block.
Okay.
I get not having Singletary because
Yeah.
you don't have
Okay.
that linebacker rushing.
I will say this, and let's make this
I
the
got you.
last point before we move on to reviewing picks from last week.
Mhm.
And
And maybe in the top. Oh, sorry.
we
Tie
tied
for top.
CJ. Yeah,
Tie for top.
That's right. So the receiver who Josh looked to trust most to me
What?
was Dawson Knox.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna lie. I'll tell you what, that he had a first down catch early in the game
He did.
that looked like it should have went right through his hands, because that's what I'm used to seeing from
And he
Dawson Knox.
caught it,
And it was
right.
one of the easy ones. I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna drop this. And he came down
Yeah.
with it. I was like, okay.
4
All
for
right.
30. He was 4 for 4.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. That's what I'm saying. That looked like the receiver he trusted most out of
Yeah.
any of them.
Yeah.
It was Knox.
Well, I don't
And-
think the outside receivers were getting much separation because I don't
I
think
was gonna
there
say,
time,
to
especially
me,
when you have
Dox
7
had
guys
a
dropping in his
good
zone.
amount of separation in that game. Dox was running
Mhm.
good
Sanders
routes
Because
had
he was-
was
8
getting open.
targets.
That's what
He
I was
was-
thinking too.
He had
So-
linebackers covering him, and give me Dawson
Sanders,
Knox
yeah.
against the linebacker
Yep.
every single
That's-
game.
He had 8 targets and 4 receptions.
Okay.
Gabe Davis had 5 targets and 2 receptions.
Yeah, but one was important. So
True.
so
One was
last
very
week in our picks, Paul and Noah both got 6 picks, right?
Wah, wah, wah.
Todd and CJ both I talked about myself in the third person.
Ugh. At least you didn't give
CJ
yourself
and
a
I
nickname.
I know.
Elmo says that.
The king.
I refer to myself as Big Siege whenever I
Big
refer to
Siege.
myself in third
Yeah.
person.
I love it.
So CJ and I both had 9, so we're both up by 3. The ones, okay, there were 2 games, and no, you can't look unless you've already looked, but there were two games that everyone got wrong.
Green Bay.
Baltimore.
Green Bay's one of them. Baltimore, no, we all got right for Baltimore.
No,
Really?
Baltimore lost.
Oh, frick. And we all had one less.
All of us had one less.
So we
So
had
we only
nine.
had 5.
I thought we had
You had-
9
You know
before
we're retiring.
Baltimore.
I'm sticking to podcasting.
When
Oh,
you
you're
sent the
right.
text out, you said we had 9 before Baltimore, and we all had Baltimore. But I could be wrong.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
So Baltimore was the one game. What was the other?
No, so
Green
there's
Bay.
3.
Oh,
There's 3.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So Baltimore, Green Bay.
And then one more.
Your favorite quarterback, CJ?
Oh, Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, we took
That's
Jacksonville.
true, 'cause the
Oh yeah,
Texans
Houston
won.
came out. Yeah,
Everyone took Jacksonville.
I had a guy start Tyrod. I was like, oh, this is gonna be easy, and then he
And
went
yeah,
off.
I picked
And
up
then,
Tyrod in fantasy.
I saw that because you're in trouble.
I am.
Jared
I was
Goff
just-
is
Look
out
at the
there.
scoring format.
I figured
and grab
up.
2 tight
I was
ends.
going to take the trifecta of
3.
past
He has
and
3 on his
present
roster.
Bills quarterbacks. I've got Fitz, I've got Tyrod, and I've got Allen.
I
No,
went
you've
all
got.
running
We're
back.
talking about tight ends, man. You have 3 on your roster.
I do have 3. One of them has to go. I do. And maybe I'll throw out a poll to Bills Mafia and give them my 3 tight ends and let somebody tell me. And we'll see. And whatever way that goes, I will trade the person that Bills Mafia selects. for me to
Nobody
get rid
wants
off
one
my
of 'em.
roster to you. Yeah, I know. But Dawson Knox is starting to.
Yeah, nobody wants
I'll
him.
throw it out there. I'm gonna
Good luck
keep
trading
Knox
Dawson
then.
Knox.
He's got to go off 2 touchdowns
Yeah.
next week, and we'll be singing a
Yeah,
different tune.
and everybody's gonna be sending me trade
You keep
requests.
Knox. You keep Knox and trade me Kelsey, like we were
Yeah.
talking about.
Who are you going to give him for Kelsey? That's what I want to know.
I had a good deal.
What
It
was
was
One of the
it was-
deals was like 6
I need a wide
pieces for
receiver.
Kelsey. I'm
Holy
not gonna lie,
shit.
like it was. I mean, don't get me
I
wrong.
like
Some of them were like
That was
it was
deep thought. That
RB3,
was
wide
like-
receiver
yeah.
4. Like it wasn't like all starters, but there was
Okay.
It was
Okay,
it was
but I
good
also offered
value.
I offered Mike Davis and
Come on, it's got to be better than that.
okay, but in our league,
Oh, running backs. No, okay, yes. Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
a
okay,
starting a starting
Okay,
running back.
I'm with you. 300
Right?
points a game. Yeah.
Yep. So I offered him Mike Davis and Tremaine.
What am I gonna do? Sit CMC?
No, you have 4
other
other
roster
spots.
I know. I'm being
Yeah.
facetious.
No, you sit like
The second tight end you're
here's
playing.
the other tight end.
Yeah. Let's do picks.
All right.
Okay. So
Tyrod will save him.
that's right.
Absolutely, he's starting this week for me. Don't get it twisted. I'm going 2-0.
I hope I play you
What do
this
you
week.
need? I have
Who do I play?
the picks.
While he's pulling up this week's picks, I'm going to take a quick. I had the second scoring team in the league. You had number 1.
Don't forget it.
Even with
Ooh.
Aaron throwing.
I-
I
Even
faced
with
Bishop
3 points.
Sycamore this week.
Oh boy.
Let's go.
Or do you?
Or do I?
Not anymore.
Projected to blow me out of the water because I haven't swapped out Fitzy yet.
I got it. Raider.
So do we steal the lingo from WGR and call this segment Game Day Picks the Bills?
Sure.
Or how about Game Day Picks the League? Because we're not just settling with like picking the Bills. Every week we're picking all the games.
Yeah, I like that. Game Day Picks the League. Week 2.
Week 2
Starting tomorrow.
starts tomorrow with
Giants at Washington.
Ooh.
Oh, what an awful
Tyler
game.
Henneke.
What an awful game. Who?
Hey, if the
it
Giants
really
keep
is.
blocking
It really
themselves
is.
on
It's really
offensive
I
line,
don't know if I'm going to watch
Washington
that
should
game.
have some free rushers.
I'm not watching
Did you
it.
guys see
I
that?
think
You
I
know
stayed
that-
away from them in fantasy in every league. Like every
You know
league. I
that
don't
Daniel
think
Jones has
Yeah, I dropped
double the fumbles
4.
he does starts.
I dropped 4 Giants this week.
That's such an amazing.
I'm keeping
stat.
him on defense because he got me like 150 points.
One of
Who,
the Giants.
Martinez?
Logan Ryan did, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's
Logan
a beast,
Ryan,
dude. I got to
yeah.
pick him up in my other
Yeah.
league. Safety.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a terrible game. I mean, the Giants' offensive line last week looked so bad.
All right, we're gonna.
At least
we're
the
gonna
Bills weren't
blitz through
blocking
these picks,
themselves.
though.
All right.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
CJ, Giants, Washington.
You know what I usually do is I usually look at the spreads on my phone as I'm
Of
doing it.
course he does.
And
Of
so
course he does.
whoever is the favorite is who we're gonna go with. So let's see, Washington. So yeah, we're going Washington.
Even with Tyler Henneke, Washington's the favorite.
3.5 points.
I
Is
think the
game
Giants are just that bad.
Washington's home.
Because you can't trust
Oh,
Saquon
okay.
Barkley.
Okay. But I mean, even still,
But yeah,
Yeah, he's already
I still
listed
like
as questionable.
Saquon.
Yeah.
I've listed as questionable. Devin Booker's out there to pick up.
I'm also going with Washington, but not because of the spread. I'm going with Washington because I don't trust the Giants.
Noah.
I'm gonna go with Washington too. That offensive line is so bad.
I'm taking the Giants. Okay.
You made the Bills' offensive line look like a bunch of all-stars.
Sunday, 1:00.
Sunday.
Raiders, Steelers.
Oh, hey CJ, you play Grandma Morse.
Yes.
Go wipe
He's a
the floor with
powerhouse,
you, CJ. She's gonna wipe the floor with you, and I'm gonna be here for it.
This is 2 of our top level teams going at it here.
I'll take
Someone's
the
gotta win.
Steelers.
Steelers, Raiders. CJ.
Steelers. At home.
Paul.
I don't trust the Steelers offense, and I don't think that they're as good as they seem to be right now. And I'm gonna go Raiders, and I think that Raiders are gonna shock the world and go 2-0 to start the season. I don't think that they make a deep run. That's not what I'm saying, but I don't think that the Steelers are even half as good as they appear to be right now.
Okay, so you're the only one to take Oakland.
Yep.
Which is fine.
Yeah, totally fine.
49ers, Eagles. Speaking of teams that shocked us.
Yeah, that's tough.
This is a toss-up for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just say you're not picking then.
No, I want to go Eagles. I want to go Eagles, but
It's in Philly. If
I
that's
know.
easy.
I'm going Eagles. If it's in Philly, I'm going Eagles.
I'm gonna take the Eagles too.
I'm going Niners.
If somehow
Paul
Trey
went
Lance
Eagles.
finds his way into the game,
That
Just
won't
because
that might
Paul
be
went
the only
Eagles, I went
chance.
Niners.
I went Niners too. Texans, Browns.
Browns heavy.
ooh, Texans Browns.
This is
This is like a no-brainer. Yeah.
You're not seriously debating.
Yeah,
this, right?
the
Like-
Tyrod fever because
okay.
He went toe to toe with Mahomes.
Can
You
I-
really
can I
think he's
just-
about to go toe to toe with Tyrod?
Yeah, no. Browns, but I want shout out to Tyrod. I didn't know that he had the cojones to throw 40-yard 50-50 balls. Like
That's all
we
he
never
did.
saw that in Buffalo, and he was just like launching it all over the place. I'm like, what happened to Tyrod? Like, congrats to him. He said, I don't remember verbatim what he
Justin
said.
Herbert happened to Tyrod.
Yeah.
True.
I don't know what they injected him with in Los Angeles, but like he had some zip to those passes. And shout out Tyrod though. I'm happy
Broncos,
for him.
Jags. Broncos.
Broncos.
Trevor Lawrence bounce back game. Jags take this
Going
one.
Broncos.
Jags are a mess.
Teddy Bridgewater versus yeah, I'm still gonna go Jags. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I'm going Broncos.
Broncos.
I'm going with Jacksonville. Okay. Saints, Panthers in Pantherland.
Saints.
Yeah. Aints.
Yeah, Saints. Jameis is gonna feast again. That
Okay.
came out of nowhere.
Again, he had 150 yards passing.
Yeah, but didn't he throw 5 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't care if you throw for 100 yards. You put up 35 points as a quarterback, you're probably gonna win the game.
148 for 5 touchdowns.
148 with 5 touchdowns.
That's got to be the lowest
That's
pass
the
yards
stat.
for 5 touchdowns.
That's like the stat line of
ever.
the week. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Lamar Jackson can beat that.
True. I think Lamar could throw to himself, to be honest.
He may.
Probably make a
Yeah.
few plays.
Isn't that carrying or
Would that count?
would that count? Throwing to yourself?
If the ball passes the line of scrimmage, it counts as a forward pass. So it would have to count.
Maybe
Yeah,
he's
go high.
traveling.
Traveling.
It's a
Lamar.
double dribble. Sorry. Rams Colts.
LA, baby.
Yeah, I think the Matt Stafford train
It's
keeps
Stafford
on moving.
time.
I think that the Rams and Bucks are probably who's going to be in the NFC Championship.
No, you're the only one
No,
we
I'm
don't know
thinking the
about.
Saints, but yeah, good pick. I like that too.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Indy. I don't trust Matt Stafford yet.
Matt Stafford, the NFL MVP.
Mm-hmm.
No. After
Oh,
week
you're
one.
talking. You know who? Speaking of MVPs, you know who had a really awesome game? Aaron Rodgers.
No, I said M. M is in monkey.
Oh,
So you're gonna
Yeah.
just shit on my quarterback?
well,
Or wait, do
yeah,
I
I mean-
have him? Do I have him?
No, Rodgers. He has Rodgers.
Yeah, you have Rodgers.
I do have Rodgers.
You
Yeah,
have
so don't.
Yeah,
say
if
that,
you want to trade him, I'm open to it.
but overreaction.
he might be over the hill. It might be the
He
end of the
might
line.
be
for
way
him.
out of Green Bay.
games.
Left
Right.
last season. He left in the offseason. Green Bay's just figuring it out.
Yeah. Maybe it's
Big all.
his state.
I'll
Farm
tell you
version.
what. I got a great offer for you. I'll give you Trey Lance. You give me Aaron Rodgers. It was worth
Okay.
it.
Think about it.
So, Patriots Jets.
Patriots.
Can they tie 0-0? Is that possible?
I'll say tie.
You could say tie.
That's what you're putting in there. Noah.
I guess I said it.
The Jets are just so bad.
I'm taking the Jets.
Patriots.
Oh, who are you
If-
taking for real?
For real, I'll take the Patriots. If it does end in a tie, I want a 2-minute segment on our next episode where I just rip into both teams.
I didn't know that you could only speak for 2 minutes. So
I
if you
can't.
can do
You're
that.
gonna have to mute me. Like, and time. Click.
Oh, Bengals Bears.
Oh man.
I gotta go with baby kangaroo.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Bengals too.
That offensive line.
I feel like you're saying that every single time.
about everybody. but it's like
This just
everybody's
in:
offensive
the
line
Bengals
is
re-signed
so
Bobby
bad.
Hart.
You sound like you sound like this old man going, that offensive line.
I'll take the Bengals.
Back
I
in
don't
my
know.
day, offensive lines blocked their man.
Yeah, like last year.
Like just the other day.
I took Chicago. Falcons, Buccaneers.
Bucks. That Falcons
Bucks.
offense.
Yeah, I think the Bucks are gonna take that one.
Handily.
Vikings Cardinals.
Cards.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
no.
the Cardinals are looking pretty nice. I'm gonna have to go with the Cardinals as well.
I'll go with the Cardinals.
Nobody has faith in the Vikings, huh?
I don't.
I think
I
the
don't have
Cardinals.
faith in
I
Kirk
think
Cousins.
I think the Cardinals are gonna be in the finals.
Neither
with
did
Tampa.
Stephon Diggs. Low hanging fruit. Sometimes I can't help myself. I'm gonna have Vikings fans at my neck.
Chiefs Ravens. Oh, I skipped the line, but that's okay. No,
The
hold on.
ultimate
Hold
parody
on.
in this
Hold
league.
on. Rewind. Titans Seahawks.
Seahawks.
Man, no faith.
I don't. Hey, another season prediction. I'm just gonna stack them up every week. The Titans will not make the playoffs this year.
Should I say it again? That Titans offensive line looks so bad.
Yes.
CJ, who did you take?
DJ?
Was it the Titans that looked that bad, or was it Jamie Collins that looked that good?
The Titans look that bad.
And Taylor Lewan is so overrated.
So overrated. Oh
And
man.
Collins is just that good.
Aaron Maben could have beaten Taylor Lewan.
I like how he posted a thing after and was like,
COVID
My
could have
bad.
been Taylor Lewan.
Thank you for beating me so many times.
Muted word. I should be muted. Okay. CJ, who did you take? Seattle or Tennessee?
What? Oh, Seattle.
You're all right.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Let's look at the
Cow-
spreads.
Cowboys Chargers.
Cowboys.
Chargers are favored, but I like the boys.
I do
Give me
too.
the-
I
give,
don't-
give me that Dak Prescott, another 400-yard game. Ooh,
I feel you.
I'm going
In two other
Chargers.
leagues.
Okay, me too.
Who went
split down the
Chargers?
middle on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only have a couple that we split.
There's only a couple games that really don't seem to be one-sided though.
Yeah, we
That's
thought
true.
that last week, and we got
Yeah, we all got annihilated.
The most we got were 9 right.
Who took the
Not even
Lions
passing.
last
Isn't
week? That's
passing
what I wanna know.
65%?
We took the Lions.
Mhm.
I did. I'm pretty sure I
Okay.
did.
Makes sense. Never mind.
Because
you
of
probably did
the
because
Jared
you were
Goff
like,
thing.
Jared Goff is gonna do something.
He threw for
and
300 though. That was my hot
All
take.
in
from last week.
Garbage time.
Like 300
It
of it
still
came in the
counts.
fourth
Oh
quarter.
yeah, same for
For what?
Lawrence.
Like-
That was all garbage time.
That was all garbage time too. Yeah.
But Joey Burrows wasn't.
I mean, if you can't complete a pass when the opposition's playing
Right.
prevent defense, when can you?
I don't know.
True.
He also
Are
threw
we up? Are we up
57
to
passes.
Chiefs,
By the way.
Ravens?
Yep. Chiefs will win by over a touchdown.
All right. What do we got?
Chiefs Ravens.
Chiefs. And I think this starts the demise for the Ravens.
Me too.
I think this makes everybody think that there's a really, really level playing field in the AFC, and I think the Ravens are going to beat the Chiefs and make everybody wonder what the hell is going to emerge from the AFC.
Oh, you're actually picking the Ravens?
I am actually picking the Ravens. I mean, I'm picking them just because that
Yeah, I'm different.
that guy that wears 15. I just can't.
You want him
Can't.
in fantasy? He's
Who?
Oh no. What's Lamar's number? I thought you were talking about Lamar for a second.
No. He who I will not name is number 15. The wannabe Josh
Mahomes, you
Allen.
mean? Pat
Yeah.
Mahomes?
Yeah,
All right.
Pat Mahomes.
Voldemort?
Player of the week last week?
Voldemort?
That guy?
Yeah. Lions Packers Monday night in Green Bay.
Pack is back. They're gonna crush him.
Yeah, yeah, Packers got to take that one. Aaron Rodgers isn't gonna put up another goose egg.
I mean,
Go for it.
I'll-
Their
I'll
offensive
take the
line.
Lions. I'll take the Lions just because I haven't really done anything weird.
If the Lions win this week after I picked them last week, I'm gonna be so mad, man.
Not winning that game.
And Bills, Dolphins, and the score, please.
All right. Bills. Bills win 35-17.
Wow.
You're right around where I am. I'm saying Bills 38-13.
Bills 21-7.
I'm going to take the Bills. Noah basically stole my thunder. So I'll say 22
Add in a Bass
to
field goal.
13.
22.
They
So 2 touchdowns, 2
No,
field goals, and a
field
safety.
goals.
5
Oh,
field
it's a
goals.
field
All
goal
right.
game.
So we're gearing up for
No, I just
for
picked, I
Bass,
picked
like,
22
breaking the
last
record,
week.
right?
So I picked 22 to 17 last week. So I'm going to stick with 22 until they
The whole season.
win. Yeah.
Till they get more
it's
than 20.
Till
clearly
they get 22.
till they
So
get to 22.
Did they return that?
Imagine next week they have like 17 and then 18.
They get a safety on
19.
extra point.
After the bye week. No, I this is going to be the Bills bounce back game, and this is going to be the game that we see the Bills offense for what it is, and we realize that damn, it's just that the Bills offense doesn't match up well with the Steelers defense, and I really want that to be the narrative that we start hearing on Monday.
But it's
And I
true
think that's
though.
what's gonna
I mean, it's historically true. So
Yeah, I mean it's
All right,
Steelers defense. gives them
there's other
fits.
stuff we got left. So notable players. Who's going to be notable out of this game?
For the Bills.
Yep.
Everybody mention one and give some reasons why. I think that can
We
work.
don't need a reason. We can just
Who wants to go
Sanders.
first?
Sanders. That's all I'm saying.
Ed Oliver.
Noah.
Abe Davis.
Calling it now. Within the next 3 years, Gabe Davis is going to be wide receiver 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's written in the stars at this point. That kid can
it is.
ball.
It is definitely. And Marquez Stevenson at slot
Will be the new McKenzie at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
Well, I
McKenzie
think I
turns
have
into
to
the
say
new Beasley,
Bass.
and then Stevenson turns into the new Bass. I'll tell you what, though,
5 field
like
goals.
not to joke around, but in the next couple of years, we might be looking at Bass as one of the best kickers in the league.
It was last year.
And I don't
hit
think
a
that that's
58-yarder with him on Madden. So
Well, there
I
you
think
go.
that confirms it. the Bass kicker
I
one
clutched out a
confirmed. All right.
50-some yarder with Jordan Berry today.
Ooh,
I was
are you
surprised.
playing on rookie?
No, I
was
was.
surprised with the 58.
wind
at your back?
There was room.
I don't want to talk
too,
about
and
it.
I was like,
Bass can kick.
Playing
you know
solo
who
battles.
they love in my Madden season for some reason? Basham. They like put that kid in like every single situation and are just giving him like tons of XP and are just like, yeah, he's really good. And Groot's just kind of falling by the wayside. And I'm like, that's like the complete opposite
Opposite.
of what's
really
happening in
happening.
real life.
Way to go, EA. You're
Yeah.
knocking it out of the park with simulation all over again.
Most realistic game. Yeah, okay.
Did you hear what
That's
the,
the
I,
only
just, I gotta drop some knowledge on EA real quick because their developer, their head developer, who is an ex-lineman for the Washington football team, Clint Oldenburg. Shout out Clint. Yeah. He came out and gave the reason as to why zones aren't playing well in Madden right now is because, well, our players are scoring about the same amount of points as they do in the real NFL. So we're not going to change anything.
That was a week ago or so, right? They said
Yeah.
that?
So you're telling me that my deep third shouldn't cover a go route because that just doesn't seem right at
No,
all.
I've had that happen to me so many times where
So
like there's nobody
annoying.
there.
I'll tell you what.
Somebody line up in the slot and go.
Always
I
send
can't
somebody up
wait
Right
to
down the
buy
middle of the field.
NHL
Yep.
and not have to care about Madden because
I'll be playing Madden again tonight just because
I just need
football.
Battlefield.
I just I hear so much bad about Madden. No.
There's even
They're
NFL
like, oh, we
players
fixed
now.
the
They're
running,
like
but I
coming
can
out.
still pop off 25-yard runs. Like there's
Yeah.
nobody's business.
Yeah, I'm not playing.
With a
I'm-
74 overall running back
Yeah.
with 73 speed.
Matt Breida. Like
So yeah. So okay, your hot take for this week. Last week's hot takes were all pretty good.
Regardless of whether it was garbage time, I think 3 out of 4 of our hot takes became real.
Well, yeah, because Noah picked Burrow to play well.
Check.
CJ picked Trevor Lawrence to throw over 300. You picked Goff to throw over 300, and I picked the Bills score because you guys were all shocked
True.
that the Bills would only score 22 points.
Who are the Cardinals facing again?
They're facing Arizona.
Yeah, the Cardinals are facing Arizona.
Yeah. The Vikings. So, okay. Hot takes. Who's got one?
Josh Allen will account for 4 touchdowns and 400 yards this Sunday.
Fields
I
will
was
take
very
over for
careful with
Dalton.
how I said that, though.
Good. You didn't take the Ravens. I'm gonna do the Ravens instead. I have 2 hot takes.
CJ, what was
Okay,
yours
go
again?
ahead.
Let me hear yours again.
I like that one. Fields will take over.
Ooh, I do like
I
that
have
one.
2 hot takes.
And that would also cement Noah's season.
Yeah, I had to take Noah's. I figured he was going to say that, so I had to say it before he did.
Oh, Noah has his own.
I got
Noah
2.
has 2.
One.
So, I don't know. We have to vote on which one we're going to accept as
Yeah.
the
Okay.
actual-
Whichever one is the hotter of the takes.
Chandler Jones has another 5-sack game.
Ooh.
The Ravens
Ooh.
lose again and don't win more than 5 games for the rest of the year.
No, this is just a
That's
one
a
week.
season take.
So,
So
all right, so
add
So
that
I'll
into
take
his
Chandler
season
Jones.
takes. The Chandler Jones one is good because
Yeah.
if that happens,
I mean, he is going up against the Vikings.
who fill us in, Noah? How's their offensive line?
All right. Derrick Henry goes for 200.
Who are they facing? They are facing
You're the one who said that
the Seahawks. What?
their offensive line is terrible. So
It did look bad last week. It did.
They
I don't
better
think I'm-
run off tackle to the right because if you run to Taylor Lewan side, you're going to run into some issues.
all right.
Derrick Henry's going to be behind the line. It's going to be a pitch to the left. And they're going to be like, all right, pitch to the left to Derrick Henry on 3. And Derrick Henry's going to look at the offensive line and be like,
turn around and go the
I-
other way.
don't pitch to Derrick Henry. I'm Derrick Henry. Shout out Little Giant.
Hands, why you do that to me, Hands? Why you do me like that, Hands? I love that movie.
Alright.
So good.
I'll clean you. I wash you.
What we got left? I'm trying to make out the board.
I thought we had
boards.
overreactions.
We had reactions, but
We kind of did.
we did the overreactions.
You know what you should do? Here's an
I had
idea
2
for next
overreactions.
week.
Both
No,
of them in Philly.
whatever device you have on the 4th screen in the Zoom call, you should set up somehow to just capture the board.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
Noah
I can
won't
do
have
that.
his phone.
Yeah, but
I mean,
I'm kidding. I think he can survive. He can survive.
we
Yeah.
can play with it
Okay.
next time.
Sounds good.
Do we want to do like quick, just overreactions?
Overreactions.
Okay.
overreactions from this week.
Just
Yes,
real quick
for the rest
Real
of the
quick.
season, right?
Real quick.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'll go real fast. Philly will lead the NFC East and take the championship for the NFC East. And not just that, but Devontae Smith will be the rookie of the year.
Ooh. Do you know he scored that touchdown in the exact same spot that he scored the game-winning touchdown for the
For
national
Alabama.
championship? But yeah.
Interesting.
So you're saying he's the NFC Rookie of the Year because you've already chosen the Rookie of the Year for the NFC.
After week 1, it wouldn't be an overreaction otherwise. I love it. I love it.
Exactly.
Oh,
Josh Allen is about to get benched for Mitchell Trubisky.
whoa.
Come on.
No, come on. I'm not going to do my guy like that. All right. So I am going to say that Zay Jones is going to lead the Raiders in touchdown receptions.
Okay.
Good overreaction.
That is a good one.
Noah.
The Ravens will not win more than 5 games this year, and Harbaugh will be fired at the end of the year.
That was an overreaction and a hot take.
I'm just slinging them today.
Between offensive lines and nobody's safe.
No one.
Brian Dable's scared. No offensive lines can play. The Ravens are only winning 5 games, and John Harbaugh is going to get fired. And Josh Gordon is becoming the new commissioner of the NFL. I hope he gets reinstated. He's fun to watch.
Nothing.
No overreactions from last week?
Yeah.
I
think the fact that he doesn't have a reaction at all is quite the overreaction.
No, I have plenty of reactions. Let me just
think of them.
I came unprepared for an overreaction. I will. How about this? Well, no, I can't say that because I already did it.
What?
I will replace at least 8 players on my fantasy team.
God dang.
But I've done it already.
What about an NFL overreaction last week?
Is it still an overreaction to say Matt Stafford's going to win MVP? Can I just carry that through?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with that because I don't trust him yet.
Yeah, I think after 1 week.
Yeah. It would have been an
After 1 week
overreaction to say
call an
that Trevor
MVP.
Lawrence was going to be Rookie of the Year and League MVP.
Is it an overreaction to think that Urban Meyer will be back in college by December?
No, I think that's a formality.
Yes.
Does it sound like an Urban Meyer thing to do?
As
To
soon as
go
the
to
USC,
USC?
Jacksonville's
did
not
you
working
hear?
out.
You heard what he said, right? Did you hear the quote? that he
I'm
put out there?
committed to being here. That's ridiculous.
I want.
You know what that
be
said to me?
here.
If they offer me the job, I'm gonna pull a Doug Marone.
Oh.
Would make me hate him even more. So
Urban Meyer?
what does an ego had to do it? Yeah.
Going to USC.
No, just and then just doing
Just doing
that.
that, yeah.
Like, it's not really working out in the NFL. Sorry.
Well, they have all kinds of strife, apparently.
Yeah.
So, like, there's already players, and according to the Athletic, they had this huge article about Jacksonville being in all kinds of mess.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think that's it then for our show.
Yep.
Game day
Good one.
716, NFL week 2.
This
Thank
is
you,
only the
guys.
first week of the season that we're through, and look at how heated all of our topics got today. This had to be twice as fun to watch as it was to just interact with you guys.
And
today.
I would like to say hi back to Yaks on Sacks, who, the guy that said hello to me in the chat.
Yes.
If you're still watching.
Of course.
Or maybe you're not a guy.
True.
Yeah.
You want us to find out?
Shout out to Grandma Morse, who's going to wipe the floor with CJ in fantasy this week.
We'll see.
She's coming for my spot.
She is.
We'll see.
All right.
Good times.
Yep.
Wrapping up in 3, 2, 1.
We appreciate everybody.
Stay safe. Stay happy. Stay healthy. We will see you
Next time.
Go check out Zach Moss.